Alright, welcome back to the shop, guys. Today we're going to continue our Explorer series by showing you how to replace your rear pads and rotors. And in this case, we're going to be changing the caliper. I'm not going to show it because it's not normal to be changing the caliper, but look at this thing. I have to change it. It's been at the bottom of the ocean for the last 3 years or something like that. I don't know what's going on, but you can see this thing is rustier than rusty, okay? Now, as you can imagine, even if yours looks good on the outside, on the inside of the hat, it's going to be very, very rusty, and it's going to grow, and it's going to come against the shoes inside of here. So this rotor is going to be pretty difficult to remove, probably the hardest part of the job. Now, if you're not an assault belt, this thing's going to fall right off, okay? So I'll show you a couple tips and tricks to get this off of here without damaging the back plate, the backing plate, and the interior shoes. Now, once you get the vehicle jacked up on some jack stands on the frame, nice and safe, the wheel off, 19mm lug nuts, it's right here out in the open. Now, the caliper here, we're going to unbolt it from the knuckle. There's a 10mm bolt here and down here. Nice long bolts that go through the slide pins here. Oh. And usually these are, not an issue as far as rust. Even on the worst ones, as you can see, you just need to kind of get past them. These ones are just dry. And get them off there. I love to use, the gear wrenches for these. It makes it quick. Nice and quick. And you get these out of here. They look a little something like that off to the side. And the same thing up here. We'll get this one all the way out and off to the side. This is all that holds the caliper to the bracket here. Ugh. All right, next we're going to compress the caliper piston in just a little bit so we can relax it and get past, any kind of rust ridge that's on here. So use a C-clamp, or I use a wood clamp. Makes it much faster, I feel. And we're just going to compress it in enough. Not only that, it's also going to distort these clips on here, which makes getting the old pads off of there even easier. Because they'll be nice and loose now. Okay, so you see how it's nice and loose like that? Well, the thing is that these pads actually hook into the bracket, usually at the top. So it kind of hooks into there and then falls in down here. So down here is good to go. They just kind of lay on there, okay? But what you want to do instead of just prying it off of there, you want to get your cat claw in here, or flat blade screwdriver, get under these ears of the pads and help them up. Sometimes they're really tight. This one, and the clip is even disintegrated on here. You want to get up and off of there and help it, because you can damage the piston of the caliper. So we're going to get up and past there, and up here, the ears have, there's an ear on each side, so it actually hooks into there. So we're gonna pull out the bottom here, get it past. Oh, you are a rusty sucker. All right. Oh. And then these ones, it's actually kind of nice. You just simply go like this and put it up there, and it hangs, well, it sits on the coil. Now, this is the fun part, getting the rotor off. Right now, again, if you're not an assault belt, a few taps and it comes right off. If it's like this, we're going to have to fight it off of here. Now, because we are changing the rotor, and I urge you to do the same on yours, it makes it pretty easy to, kind of break it free from the hub. So we're going to smack it here, 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 kind of all the way around, get it shocked loose from any kind of rust in the hub, like so, with a 3-pound sledge. And you can see after a while, it will come loose. Now, once it's broken free of the hub right here, you also need to break it free of the shoes, okay? Now, the way to do that on most of them is you can simply grab one side or use a pry bar. A lot of times it's a pry bar in here. Put pressure on it. And then you're gonna come on this side and you're gonna tap it, okay? And then it's great to have it in neutral so we can spin it and hold and tap. You want to do it even because it's going to be very tight inside of there. Now this one being so rusted, I really can't believe it's coming off like this. Makes it too easy. So I'll show you. Hold one side, we'll tap. And this will get it past those shoes on there and any kind of rust buildup inside of there. It's not going to be this easy. I'm very, 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 very lucky that it's coming off this easy. So at a certain point, you can kind of whatever. And yeah, look at this thing. And inside of here, you can kind of see all this rust inside of here. I guess there's some light here. Yeah, you see that rust inside of there? It really grows inside of there. Now, the problem is that you could just, go behind here and adjust the adjuster down and bring the shoes in a little bit, relax them, and then you'll be able to get it off easier. But on these, there is no blank back there. There's no hole or something like that. It's impossible to get to it from the back side because the knuckles in the way and everything else. So you really don't have an option. When it gets really bad, down here, I have actually, in the bottom here, I'll cut a window out of there, align it with the adjuster, get in there, screw the adjuster in so that I can get it off of there. Now the other thing you need to be prepared for is these shoes right here. These shoes, a lot of times, they're just glued on, and you start fighting them like that, and they'll actually just fall right off the backing plate for the shoes. These ones, again, I'm very surprised they are not coming off anywhere. They're a little cracked, but otherwise okay. So you gotta be ready for that cost. Going back together here. Next, we're gonna clean the hub face, so when the new rotor goes on there, there's no runout issues from rust buildup. So I just use a wire brush or a die grinder like this, and I'll clean them up. All right, that's pretty clean now. Over here on the bracket, there's these anti-rattle clips. They just simply push on, so we're gonna tap them off. Your new brake pads should come with new clips. Look at that, look at these things, they're just disintegrating. All right, now once those clips are off of there, we'll clean it up a little bit with the wire brush, just to get the excessive corrosion off of there. Rust, dust, dirt, all that good stuff. I like to make sure the center hub area here is nice and clean so the rotor can sit down there all the way. And the wheel, of course. All right. And once everything looks good to go, it's pretty clean, we'll hose the whole area down with some brake clean. And then I'll take a rag, scrub it down. One last step, we're going to apply, a light coat of anti-seize underneath these clips, and that'll keep it from, rusting and growing and causing the pads to stick in the brackets here, which will cause premature pad wear. You don't want that. Then over here, because we cleaned this all up and it's kind of raw metal, you want the new rotors to come off in the future, of course. Any kind of maintenance work, bearing work. We're going to apply anti-seize over here. We're just going to do it kind of messy like this in the center. Okay, just in the center like this. And then we'll get a nice smear around the center of the hub here. Keep that corrosion free. We'll do that all the way around with a good healthy coat. Okay, keep going. All right, that looks good. Get a couple more over here, like so. It's a good size hub on here, so it's gonna take quite a bit. But we're just gonna kind of brush it around real messy like this, right? And then we're gonna take our fingers And we're just gonna work it all the way around, so it's just a nice thin coat to protect it, nothing else. Just wanna do a nice thin coat. And make sure you keep it off the studs. You don't want anti-seize in your wheel studs. Not at all. Where it meets the hub right here, you know, a lug nut never travels down that far, so you're not gonna contaminate the rest of the threads. It's okay, but up here, no, you don't want it. And take your finger, and we'll work it around the center hub here to even that out too, make sure it's evenly coated, and then we'll be good to go with the anti-seize. We'll take our new clips. They simply press into place. You want to make sure they're all the way down though. So I'll hammer them on until they bottom out, like so. All right. Now, your new rotors are gonna come with an oil on them usually, most of the times, and you want to clean that off before you actually put it on there and apply the brake pads. So a little brake clean all the way around, wash it off, dry it off, and then we can install it. I prefer to use a white paper towel so I know it's clean. All right, that simply slides right on there. Right on there all the way. I prefer put 2 lug nuts on here. Like so. And then we'll just snug them down. There we go. And that'll hold the rotor so it's not flopping around when we're trying to put the caliper on. All right, now as for your old caliper, what you want to do is hold it in your hand, and we're going to take off the old pads. You're going to take off the outer one by just sticking a screwdriver or something like that in there. And believe me, this is the easiest way. You're going to wear out these clips on here to the point where they just, you know, basically come right off. And they'll get that old pad out of there. Now, this inner one, you're going to leave it on there, and you're going to use a C-frame or wood clamp, and you're going to press it all the way back in. And once that's done, you can just pull this one right out. It just simply pulls right out like that. That's good to go. Now, once the piston is pushed in all the way, we can start cleaning the piston face and the inboard side of these ears. Of course, I'm not going to do it on this one because we're changing the caliper. But this is how it looks. You simply want to get in here with a wire brush, clean that face off, watch the boot, and same thing on this side really well. Now, what you also want to do is get in here and just pull these guys right out of here. These caliper slides or guides, they simply pull right out of there. You see this one's totally dry, but it's rust-free, believe it or not. So you'll pull it out of there, leave the boot behind, change it, of course, if it's damaged, but you want to go ahead and put some silicone grease on these, and then we'll simply push it back in there and do the same thing to the other side. And then this will be ready to go. Here's the new caliper. I can show you a bit better on here. Once it's clean and everything's good to go, you want to apply silicone grease to the face of the piston and the ears, the inboard side of the ears. That's the contact area for the pads, and that'll prevent any kind of squeaks or noises from the brake system during braking. Next, we're going to take the caliper and pad assembly. We're going to bring it over and we're going to hook it in up top here, and then we're going to bring the bottom in and lock it in. So what you want to do is pull back in your caliper guide pin right here, bring it back enough to get past the mounting boss here, and then we'll concentrate on getting these ears up here locked in. Okay, get them in, and then the same thing down here. You want to push that caliper guide pin back so that it can drop into place. Just like that. Should be fully seated up here and down here. Good to go. Then we can take our bolts, get them in there. These are tricky, and you want to definitely put them in by hand at first. Get that feel for it. And then we could just simply snug these up. Now I'll put the actual torque spec down below. Oh, this brake clean's getting to me. But I usually just tighten them by hand and use my 10 mil gear wrench as a guide because I can only achieve so much leverage with it. I know I'm not going to over tighten them, and they'll be good to go. Yep, there we go. There it is, like new. New rotor, new pads, and in my case, a new caliper to make sure everything runs smoothly back here. Now the procedure is exactly the same for the other side of the vehicle. It's just, just the opposite side of the vehicle. At this point, what you want to do is take off these two lug nuts if you put them on, get your wheel back on, tighten your lug nuts down to 100 foot-pounds, and then you're going to get into the vehicle, you're going to start it up, keep it in park, and then you're going to hit the brake pedal. And what that's going to do is going to bring that piston back out so it can clamp down, take up that slack between the pads and the rotor. After that, it'll be good to go. Once you have a good firm pedal, then you can go ahead, go for a test drive, listen for any noises, make sure it brakes good, and then when you come back from the road test, you want to torque down your lug nuts once again to 100 foot-pounds. All right, that's it. That's all there is to changing brakes on the rear of an Explorer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you fix your Ford yourself. I'll see you guys on Facebook and Instagram. Later.